Hi everyone. I have a very special guest with me today joining in from Bangalore, Shalini Nair. Shalini runs a venture called Ennoventure, if I pronounced it right. And the first question has to be if Shalini, let me first thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. What does Ennoventure do? If you could briefly introduce what Ennoventure does, what exactly do you do at Ennoventure, and then more questions could come your way.
So my co-founder Padma Kumar, he was in MIT, and at that time he came across the problem of counterfeits. There was a friend or a classmate there who was working in one of the major leading brands, pharma, and he had an experience of one of the baby lotions being allergic, one of his daughters being allergic to the baby lotion. And when it was asked, he found that there are a lot of counterfeits in that particular brand alone, and that led him to actually do some sort of talking to everyone about the problem. And then it turned out that it is much huger or much larger than what we we normally think about. And then he reached out to me, is it possible for us to do something technically, create something to counter this. And he came back to me with few after talking to people in the industry itself. He came back to me with three kind of nice to have, or the basic framework around which we work now also, on having no process change at all, which is one of the reasons that people don't go for the existing solutions in the market to implement it. Secondly, having other scanners and all that makes it difficult for the consumer to actually know whether what they are using is genuine or not. If you have some markers, secret markers in your packaging or on the product, the consumer is not aware about it. It can only be for internal audit once the it has been brought to the manufacturer's notice. So these were the framework that he came to me with, and we go back a long way. We were in college together. So from that, I've been in the startup space for some time, so, and working on most of the cutting edge technologies. And providentially, I was actually looking up cryptography, steganography, and was reading up on how CIA was using images to send secret information and so on. So then it seemed like something that the technology was ripe for, and we started this venture together in 2018 April, and use the AI, cryptography, and blockchain actually to protect products. Specifically started with packaging itself, and product packaging. You know that it is ubiquitous, everyone uses it. So anything that you touch comes in a package, right? So we started with that, and now we are slowly moving into including more of the materials or the types of packaging out there, and also moving into actual products, on protecting products itself. So that answers
Wow.
what
And
what
and
Innoventure does, and what I do.
yeah.
I take care of the technology and the innovation in the company.
Oh wow. No, absolutely. And I when you say product, so you essentially give your knowledge services to large brands, MNCs, etc. And I just want to have, a very basic question of are even organizations aware of this whole uh, counterfeiting, and how it impacts them, and what are the remedial processes that or options that they have? How do you reach out and educate the brands first? Forget consumers like us. We'll have barely any chance of identifying a fake Nike versus a real Nike. But how do organizations are being kind of educated that they have a real problem at their hand.
So in the case of pharma, it again impacts lives. There are a lot of task forces which are formed from WHO, from each of the governments and UN. All of them, because it's a known problem. When you see that something is not the efficacy is in question of a medicine, then you obviously look for the root cause. So it is a known problem in pharma, and in FMCG where we have forayed quite a lot. There also, that there are counterfeits in the market. Uh, you would be surprised to know that people do send in complaints to these brands, saying that they suspect that the product that they bought is a counterfeit, and that it not actually work as expected. So irrespective of what kind of product, people are looking for reasons why it not work as it was expected. So every organization is aware that their products are getting counterfeited, either by way of the task forces that they also have, or in conjunction with the government or other regulatory bodies, and also from by the way of consumer feedback. And
And sure.
yeah, now just to
You
answer the other part of your question on what do they do, most of them do something about it, uh, just not overtly telling the consumer that there are fakes, because sometimes it is counterproductive. You say that the product that you are using has some counterfeits in the market, uh, they stop buying it altogether. So that is actually counterintuitive to letting the consumer know, blanket letting the consumers know that there are counterfeits. You have to have a methodology by which they can check. So they do use some methods. Sometimes it is imposed by the government. So for example, India government has also said that the top 300 brands should have top 300 manufacturers with their top brands should have anti-counterfeit measures in place. So you would find that governments or regulatory bodies are also uh, in the process of defining how to counter this.
Wow. And is this restricted to only pharma, or do you only work for pharma? Because to me, as a consumer, counterfeiting is across
Across.
all the product spectrum.
Uh, no, we started with pharma. For like I said, for us the main information that once every 5 minutes a child dies in Africa because of a fake anti-malarial drug, which actually is a curable disease, was the spur for us to start and to save that life. But then we realized that it is across, like you said, any product that you take would have a counterfeit in it. So now we have expanded horizontally onto most of the products, or in the process of going into each vertical. Footwear, luxury products, you have FMCG, pharma, all these are something that we work with.
And does the technology framework changes with the categories, or largely remains the same? Because I'm assuming a Nike versus a
Packaging.
small paracetamol tablet would vary in very in,
Uh, okay, so for a paracetamol or a pharma, you would see the packages as the blisters, the strips, or the bottles, things like that. For Nike, if you put it on your outer packaging, it doesn't help you at all, because mostly you don't buy it without that. So it has to be on the product itself. And the kind of technology used to actually brand it, um, the printing that goes into it, that varies across all these substrates, as it is called in the industry. So
right.
yes, there is a difference.
Never thought about it like this. I was looking at your LinkedIn, and I saw a terminology or something written like connected packaging. So are we saying packages are also internet smart, and one I could scan it use whatever QR code and understand if the product is original, etc. Is that what connected packaging means?
Yes, so this is part of what a connected packaging means. So the connected part is where maybe you can look at it as from the the grain to glass, bean to brew kind of a journey, completely connected. But yes, to make it intelligent and smart is what we are the technology providers for. So yes, you can scan a QR code, but you have no clue whether the information is authentic and related to that product or not. What we do is we protect it, you scan it, and then you get the information about whether it is a authentic product, what are the information associated with the product. Sometimes you would want the sustainability part of it, recyclable, where you recycle, things like that also available from the package itself. So digitizing it and
Digitizing the packaging.
the packaging itself,
And
making it
so,
smart from that perspective. But then, once you have that, you can think about what more you want to do with it. You can have the package essentially talk to you about whatever you want. You can think about it giving you all sorts of information, how to use that particular product. You want recipes or something, or how to use it.
yeah,
I don't want to get into
layers
more
of
details, but yes,
I understand. If
dosage, things like that, all everything, and once you have personalized it, you could have, if you look at health drink, how do you use it, what could be the duration, or the intervals at which you have, all that could come from the package itself, which actually is not possible with the traditional fixed packaging. You have fixed space available in it, the real estate is limited for you to convey all that you want to tell the consumer.
wow, never thought. Again, never thought of packaging like this. And largely, what and does this also address somehow this technology pilferage that happens in supply chain management? One is of course the product. I mean, but a lot of supply chain management, etc., is also. I mean, the way it is in India, does this technology also kind of
No,
takes.
we're not directly into the track and trace part of it, but yes, it aids in, it's not an active tracking, for example. So, which would be the case where you have a pilferage, but you find it in a different region from where it was intended for. You could actually, get that information, but it's dependent on the scan. So that's why I said it is not an active tracking kind of an IoT kind of feature is not available. But yes, when you find it somewhere else, you could scan it, you could get the information about where it was meant for, where has it turned up, and yes. So initially we started with the bulk level printing only and a batch level encryption, so to speak, so or a product level encryption, so that this product is authentic. um, and now we have actually moved on to each package, each single item also being encrypted, so that you can track each one of them.
So batches and then the product, everything is trackable.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. Wow. And all of this started with an idea of someone using a rip-off product, etc.
Correct.
I mean, that
Yes.
is amazing. Yeah. And this is largely what technology, if you could also talk to us about, this is like a distribution system built on blockchain. How does the tech stack work?
So we use AI and cryptography. So how we do it is that cryptographically generated signature is embedded onto the package itself or onto the product itself, which is then scanned. And the scan is what creates each of the endpoints. So normally, traditionally, if you look at blockchain, the tracking part of it is will only happen once you have this basic signature in place. Otherwise, you don't know. It is mostly document based that you put it in a blockchain, right? You would scan a document, you would know that this particular set is going somewhere. If you replace it with a completely spurious set, you would never know. It would still give you information. Here, what we do is it's completely the authenticated batch which gets into the blockchain or into the tracking.
And does this technology then sit on the vendor side, or your at your end,
Cloud.
and then cloud? Okay,
Cloud.
okay. But then can be controlled by the vendors, etc. So they got to, or they got to include these cryptographies, etc. as part of their packaging.
As part of their packaging. So it's a SaaS based solution. So you upload your artwork, download it, print it, and then you scan it. As simple as that.
Wow, I mean, defined very simply, but I'm sure it does not work like that. A lot of
the, the,
complexity.
the, the most at the back end, even if it is complex, it weaves itself so easily that it is easy for them to take a decision, also the manufacturers, to take a decision that yes, let's implement. There's no change in their artwork, there's nothing which gets added, no change in their process. Everything we would work with everything that they have currently have.
Wow, I mean, this is amazing. This is the first time I've spoken with someone like you, who does work like this. So, and now, if you were to talk about, let's broadly say this is smart packaging. What does the future now look like? I mean, will there will be more uh, advanced use of technology right onto, let's say, a distillery bottle? I think
Yes.
distillery tried something. I don't know whether it worked, etc. They tried that holographic sticker one could scan. I don't know if that's also smart packaging or not. But what does the future now look like?
So the future in the terms of the packaging itself, we are moving towards reusable and vegetable based things like that. But then from a protection point of view, the holograms and so on give you only so much. So you have something there. The counterfeits also have that. So you need to have that the digitization or the smart part of it, the connected part of it, so that you can interact with the product or the package. So everything is moving towards that smartness, bringing in more and then the smart part of it. Amazon acquired one of the companies, I mean, couple of years back, for pharma itself, pill pack. I think it was more for reminding you when to take the medication and so on. It's slightly cumbersome process, but they saw value in it because it's giving that intelligence to the, or the use to the power to the consumer. Because you scan it, it tells you that it is time for your medication during the day. It reminds you that it have to. So caregivers, patients, and not just in pharma. If you take it to your FMCG or even to your Nikes, you would like to know what is happening with it. And so essentially that connected and the digital part of it is where we are moving.
My last question is, which is more theoretical in nature. You know how India functions. There are smart rip-off managers as well. How do you ensure that you're always ahead of the game? I mean, what kind of steps do you take? I mean, from a technology standpoint, from innovation standpoint at the product level, does this require work by the day, by the hour at your end, or how does that function?
One part of it, like you said, because there is a lot of rip-off happening, it has to be awareness with the consumer also, that you need to be scanning or checking that it is the authentic, products. So there's some work from our end which is happening on, creating that awareness as well, slowly. It's a longer term project. But to come to the technical part of it, yes, there is. Constant effort in improving our technology, seeing what kinds of rip-offs or the fakes are happening, so that we can protect against, try to break our solution also from our end. So innovation is what drives us, and the part of it is this, to stay ahead of it. We have a couple of patents, and we are moving towards increasing our patent portfolio.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us, and dare I say, you all. I mean, and I hope you're always ahead of the game when you when
Thank you.
you, when you share your
Hope so too. It's more for the consumers rather than from not just from the organization's perspective. We need to be ahead so that they can also benefit from only original products.
Absolutely, it's for our betterment from consumer standpoint. So, and especially in the sector that you currently dominate, the health and the pharma, I think we need it more than ever. Thank you so much, Shalini, for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you.